Hey guys, Banana Luck here. Welcome back to another Watcher Realms video. Today we're gonna be taking a look at Rygar, which popped into the server last night actually, but I didn't actually have the time to actually walk through him and see how he's like. I think I'm a bit late to the party because I've even seen the test server videos go up, and I think it's pretty conclusive. It's not as crazy as what we expected compared to like Ingrid, Valderon, or Praetus for that fact. And I think it's, I don't know, kind of unexpected given that Munton has been coming up with more and more, strong units, and this guy just doesn't seem to meet the bar for that. So let's take a look at him without further ado. One thing I am disappointed by is this guy has no cinematics. Like, come on. All the recent lots that were released all had cinematics. Why is this guy any different? Yeah, I don't understand why, but first of all, let's take a look at base stats. 28k HP, 6.2k attack, similar to Wukong almost in terms of both HP and attack. And same with that 2 tower range, but this guy has a pretty high cost at 19. And that's pretty much it. Joining the ranks of, OP Nightmare Fighters that the game has released in the past few months. And then first of all, talent. Hammer attack has a 20% chance to inflict stun on the target, while axe has a 20% chance to inflict defense reduction. Very clearly you can see hammer, axe. I like this dual wielding concept for units here, but I don't really like his kit. We'll talk more about that later, but yeah, it's really cool that they have this kind of, new concepts instead of just pure DPS coming up. And then first, his basic attack has a 40% chance to attack with the hammer and deals 120% damage, 40% chance to attack with the axe and deals 120% damage as well, and a 20% chance to use Warlord's Might. What does that do? Just uses both his weapons together and also has the chance to trigger his talent effects, and that does damage 2 times obviously because he's hitting the guy with 2 of his weapons. And this is the part that I don't like about him. A lot of ING that's involved. It's very nice when we talk about, GVG because it could really skew things up, but I don't like the fact that this guy is going to be very RNG dependent, which means that, he could also perform really underwhelmingly instead of performing really well, but that screw up with people's GVG offense attacks. And then first passive, Warlord's Might ignores 20% of the target's defense at max level, and when Warlord's Might is triggered, increases attack by 5% for 10 seconds, and that stacks up to 3 times, which gives him a 15% attack boost. So pretty okay kit, nothing too crazy. It's not gonna be in the same lines of like Twyla with like 80%, defense reduction, or Wukong with like 50%, I think. I forgot. So it's an okay passive, but nothing too crazy. It is just all out flat attack and defense penetration, so that's gonna boost his damage output significantly. Second passive. Every 60 seconds resists 1 instance of damage, and when triggered, increases damage by 15% for 10 seconds. Sorry, 15%, 25% at max level for 15 seconds, and each time the hero deals damage, reduces the cooldown of this effect by 1 second. So it's like what? Every 60 hits, you basically get this once. Not that crazy of a passive, if I can be honest. Very weird as well, them slapping this on the fighter. It's the same with Yuri's A5. Resisting AoE damage by 50%. Sorry, it's reducing AoE damage by 50% every like 60 or 20 seconds, or was it? Very funky, but this guy has it on one of his skills, so not a fan of this. I mean, this guy is gonna resist 1 instance of damage and then just die on the other. So like, what's the point of that? Um, but it does increase his damage, so I guess that's nice, but not super crazy. I think my favorite part of his kit is still this, even though there's a lot of RNG involved. And then we'll move on to his Lord skill first before we pop onto his ultimate there. Increases attributes by 15%, that's the same, and also the attack speed buff, that's exactly the same. But when Rygar is a lot, the ultimate is triggered, faction team members gain the following buffs. Basic attack damage increases by 25%, and each basic attack restores 3% HP. Applied buff lasts until the end of the ultimate. So, yeah. It's very different from what we're used to with Torador's proc chance. So Torador has an amazing lot bonus. Faction team members' basic attack has a 30% chance of landing an extra hit. This is crazy, and this is the very reason why people hate going up against nightmare teams in GVG, because that's that 30% proc chance that could really screw you up. Like the Ajax could be hitting nothing on your mimics, but when you go to the actual fight, if Ajax just keeps proccing the Torador lot bonus, it could just destroy that Lego flyer that you did manage to get through when you were practicing. That's the very annoying bit. And I'm gonna go on a limb here to say that that 30% proc chance is probably more value than what this can gather. It is still a nice bonus. I think in some areas like Guild Wars 1, it could reduce the RNG and just make damage from your nightmare teams a lot more stable. But I think overall in like GVG, which is where most people are at in the end game, it is not going to be that desirable, and you do need a tank in GVG. So it's sort of this like a either or situation where you either want Rygar or Torador there. So yeah, if you already have Torador, I'm guessing this guy is not going to add as much value, especially if most of you have already put Wukong and like got him to A5. They share the exact same spot, so that's going to be where, Rygar sort of doesn't, really fit in there nicely. On to his ultimate. Basic attack is turned into Warlord's Might, so that means every hit is going to hit them with both axe and hammer. Doubles the chance of inflicting stun and defense reduction, so that goes up to 40%. And every 3 attacks triggers an earthquake that deals 300% damage to the main target at max level, and 70% damage to up to 5 of the target's nearby enemies. This goes down to 900 rage cost, which is pretty high for a unit like this. And it is a manual ultimate, so yeah, I think this is a pretty nice ultimate in terms of damage output, because it just straight up doubles his damage as well. Don't forget, Warlord's Might means he hits with both weapons, and both weapons will be dealing damage at the same time. And there is also the defense reduction added bonus, and also the stun, which provides some control. But I think the most complex part of his kit is probably his basic attack, and that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna say like he's not as amazing as what I would have foreseen. I think I really expected this guy to be like Nightmare Chaotic Faction, Dual Faction, like how Ingrid is Watchers and Arbiter. So it's a bit disappointing, but I do like his design. Pretty cool. One of the dual wielding units as well. I mean, you have Bowshir with like double swords, but this guy has like legit 2 different modifiers with his attacks, so that's nice. And now we move on to his awakenings. During the ultimates, trigger 1 earthquake every 2 attack instead. So it's currently 3, that's gonna go down to 2. Not that crazy in terms of like power spike, but it is gonna be extra damage coming out. A2 gonna be a standard 20 attack speed as with Torador, same thing. And then A3 increases the ultimate duration by 10 seconds. This is pretty huge because not only does it increase its own damage output, it also increases how long the Lord skill is going to come on for. So it's going to come off for 35 seconds instead. A4 penetration, very usual on a DPS unit like anyone. And A5 increases the stack of brute strength attack by increases the maximum stack of brute strength attack increase by 2. So this means that the stack goes up to 5, and it's gonna give him like a extra 10% attack boost. So if you were to ask me, I would think right off the bat A3 is where the money is at. I don't think A5 is really worth it to go for. Yeah, I think A3 is where the spike is at, which is pretty much the same as what we've seen on like Ingrid as well, where A3 is where most of the damage is coming from. So I don't have enough ancients to pull for him. Even if I did, I'm not gonna feel bad not pulling him because he's not that crazy of a unit. He is a nice DPS at the end of the day, but I already have Torador. I have a very solid, Nightmare team. I don't think this is one of the guys that I want. He's not gonna be Elder or Demi level in terms of crappiness. He's a solid like damage unit, but when it comes to just where GVG is at the moment, he's not who I'm gonna be hoping for. And also the fact that he doesn't hit air, I'm pretty sure he only hits ground units. That's just another one of those strong, fighters that is not hitting air again, which really sucks because it just dampens the areas that you could actually use him in. Like he's not gonna be that versatile for compared to someone like Arrogance, for example. So yeah, that's my take. I don't think you should be pulling for him unless you want him for collection or you don't already have a Nightmare Lord. Because he's gonna be doing a pretty good job in replacing Torador in Guild Wars 1 or Samura. Just need to find someone else to tank instead. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's kind of it for the video. Let me know if you're gonna summon for Rygar. I am not going to. I'm not going to. Not because I don't have enough summons, but also to the fact that I already have Torador and I really don't see a need, to add him to the mix there. So yeah, let me know down in the comment section below. And I hope you enjoyed this video. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.